fire, bro. It's not a scab. Dead, got him.
Boy.
It's down. Player, killed him. One down. I'm gonna need help though. Kill the second one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's rough.
I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded, and honestly it feels kind of weird, but here we are. And before we get started, I just wanted to give some kind of quick context as to what I've been up to for the past 4 months. If you're not interested in this part at all, you can go ahead and skip to the first section. I've got no problem with that at all. I just really appreciate the view, so thank you. Honestly, I just kind of lost interest in FPS games and pretty much everything in general. I even went back to the most degenerate game that I've ever played, League of Legends.
Oh my god, bro.
So I've been kind of messing around with that. I also got back into drawing, which has been pretty fun. I do a lot of characters from older games and newer. I've also been doing a lot of Tarkov content as well, just like kind of little stickers here and there. So if that piques your interest and you'd like to support me, I'll drop a link on the screen and in the description down below. Even if you don't buy anything, the traffic is more than enough. So again, thank you. With that shameless plug out of the way, let's jump right into the review. What is Arena Breakout Infinite? ABI is a free-to-play extraction shooter where the goal is to loot, shoot, and extract from the map alive. And if you fail to extract, you lose everything, including guns, armor, and anything that was in your bag at the time. Basically, it's Escape from Tarkov with a lot of quality of life changes, Tarkov Lite. And just so that we're clear, I've got about 60 hours in the game, 30 hours on Steam, and 30 hours in the beta, roughly. I haven't exactly gotten around to doing every single thing in the game, but I can say that I've chewed through a good majority of it so far. This game has had a lot of controversies since its released, a lot of flinging between BSG and More Fun Studios, and honestly it's been pretty funny. I love seeing the EFT fanboys getting in their feelings in the Steam reviews for Arena Breakout Infinite.
Are you serious?
It's also pretty interesting looking at content creators that are talking about it too. And to be fair, they do have some points. Some things look like they were directly pulled from Tarkov, but we'll get into that later. But I also feel like they've already remedied some of these problems. For example, the pay-to-win aspect of the game. The community was furious about how you could buy in-game currency with real-life money, so they took it out completely. Now, that means that they jacked up the prices on the microtransactions, but again, we'll get to that later in a different section. For the most part, this game does everything Tarkov does, but a little bit better, except for the art direction and the atmosphere, which I personally think that ABI will never be able to compete with. But how does ABI feel exactly? Does the game feel good to play? ABI feels pretty similar to Tarkov for the most part when it comes to gameplay. If you've ever played anything like Delta Force or EFT, you'll slip right into it like a nice warm glove, but things will feel a little different this time. And the reason why I say that is because fighting is incentivized in this game. Straight out of the gate, either you're pushing or you're being pushed. A lot of the spawns are incredibly close together, making it very difficult to walk away from a fight unless you've wiped the enemy team in the area. And there isn't any friendly fire, and the game has markers above your teammates' heads, and there's a map showing off points of interest. It's almost like they took everything that we've been asking for years and put it all into one game without hindering the experience of an extraction shooter. It honestly feels really balanced. I can literally look around and spot my teammates or pull up my map without having to ask, is that you near me? Are you shooting? Are you dead? You can even see your teammates shooting on the side of the screen, which is a detail that I missed before. And some might say that it's taking away from the feeling of an extraction shooter, or it's making it too easy, or, you know, that's the whole point of the game, is to be hard. And to people like that, I'd honestly say fuck off. Or, well, maybe a little bit. But I'd sacrifice that tiny little bit to make me not want to throw my computer at the wall every time a proned out basic kit with a Mosin takes away my hard-earned kit. And just so that everyone's aware, there isn't any insurance in this game. Your teammates can't throw your stuff and you won't get it back in insurance claims. Though if they do take it out of raid, you will get it back. If one of your teammates takes your gun out or your armor, you'll get it back in your mail. It also really cuts down on the RMT in this game, which I think they did a great job with it, personally. While we're on the subject about money, let's talk about it because it's a lot easier to make money in this game, especially because it doesn't wipe. That means that if you want to play an entire season stacking up Cohen, which is the money in this game, you can. And if you want to take a break and not touch the game for a couple months, you can. I'm not going to go too deep into this thing. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple so that we can get through it. The rarity is kind of weird, but white is basic, which is 100 to 900 Cohen. Blue is rare, which is 1000 to 3000 Cohen. Purple is epic, which is 10,000 to 40,000 Cohen. Yellow is legendary, 70,000 to 300,000 and above. And red is contraband, which is the rarest in the game, and that is basically millions if you pull one. And they make this nice and easy too. Any items in your inventory, you're able to get a rough estimate in the top right hand corner of the item window. You're also able to get a rough estimate of your entire inventory's worth in raid, making it incredibly simple to make decisions when it comes to extracting or continuing to push fights while still in the raid. They've also simplified the healing, and they made mag packing a lot more tolerable. Instead of needing to stop and pack mags, you can do it while you walk, which cuts down a lot on wasted time. And instead of fumbling around with your numbers on your keyboard or your inventory, you can literally just hit a hotkey that'll either pull up a wheel of healing or will simply just use whatever is the most pressing. Take for example, if you're bleeding, it'll pull out a bandage or painkillers, which is perfect in my opinion. I actually really love the healing in this game, no sarcasm intended. There's also a lot of other quality of life changes like stash organizing, task tracking, or numerous other things, but like I said, if I listed all of them, we'd be here forever. Now, I don't know if this is just my personal bias when it comes to the way I look at these maps, but a lot of them, I kind of look at them and I think, hey, I've seen that in Tarkov, and I've kind of made up my opinion about it. I don't really care that they stole from Escape from Tarkov. You know, it is what it is. They definitely ripped some locations for sure, but what are you gonna do? So I want to put these maps in Escape from Tarkov terms because I have a lot of audience overlap with Escape from Tarkov, and it'd probably be an easier way of describing it. Farm feels like customs in some ways, but instead of dorms, you've got a motel. It's a really easy map, and the first one you start off on, but you get some really intense PvP here while making it out with a bag. Easily one of my favorite maps in the entire game. Valley kind of feels like shoreline and woods combined. You've got a lot of long angles here, but there's also places like Villa. High value and PvP in this area. If you're playing with someone who is a Valley main, you're probably going to catch them pushing Villa or sitting just outside of Villa for people that are going in and out. Armory feels like a combination of factory and reserve, but mostly reserve. It's even got an annoying buzzer when you're opening doors, but it's still an incredibly fun map. Nutty PvP in and around the bunker constantly, every single raid. North Ridge is just flat out shoreline. There really isn't a better way to describe it. Even the layout is very similar. You've got a road along the shoreline that leads to a pier-like area and a resort at the top of the map. I mean, come on, seriously? And tons of other references. Like, there's a lot of references. Also, I don't know why they would include this, but there's a sawmill in the map. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird. This is probably the hottest map when it comes to PvP. You get a unreal amount of juicers in the main spot, which is insane, and there's 8 safes inside of the resort-like structure on North Ridge. I'll just be straight up with this one. TV Station is my least played map, and simply because it requires you to push PvP constantly, and I don't really know the layout. But if I had to describe it in some way, it kind of feels like labs. There's a lot of AI that are armed to the teeth roaming around while you need to fight in order to extract. but again, I don't know shit about this map. The modes are a little bit different in this game, and I wish that Tarkov would kind of do the same, if not put their own spin on it and give us something similar. Tactical Ops has 4 different modes. Normal, which means that you've got no gear requirements with a maximum value of 450k. Also, Covert Ops are able to join your raid, which are pretty much just player scavs. Lockdown has a gear requirement of 100k and a maximum of 1 million. No Covert Ops, and you get a lot of better loot, like it is night and day when it comes to normal and Lockdown. Forbidden Zone basically is the same as Lockdown, but the gear requirement is 300k with no maximum, and the loot is absolutely nuts in this mode. And solo play is pretty self-explanatory. You basically just don't match with anyone else, and it's just you against the world. You've also got a lot of limited time events. For example, one of those limited time events right now is called Secure Ops. Pretty much means that you don't lose gear if you die in raid, and whatever you bring out from extracting is converted directly into Cohen. Then you have Covert Ops, which is basically old scavving. You don't have any scav karma at all, which is great for warming up. And the shooting range. You don't need to upgrade your hideout in order to test your weapons out. It just straight up loads you in, no problem, no hassle. Which is kind of how I wish every game was, because I don't want to waste money on a shooting range. Look, I'm just gonna lay it out for you and deliver the hard truth. The weapon selection in Arena Breakout is nowhere near the amount of Escape from Tarkov. In fact, it only has 48 guns, but at the same time, I never really feel like I'm running the same thing every single raid. Sure, you could buy the same gun over and over again, but there's enough guns in the game to make you feel like there's a pretty large variety, and most of them are still very viable. My favorite gun right now is the 5.56 Scar. It's pretty cheap to mod out, and with the right ammo, it could shred just about anyone. Though, just like every other game, there are meta weapons like the HK and the AK-12 at the moment, both fast-firing weapons with incredibly low recoil. There's also the M4, which I feel like everyone's running. The M4 is just really good in this game, just like it is in Tarkov and Delta Force. And the attachments are pretty much the same story, coming out at a whopping 100 attachments, so they do have plans on releasing more. The mobile version has over 700 at the time of making this video. It's also incredibly easy to build weapons in this game with the modify button, but hey, this looks kind of similar, not at all like the gunsmiths from Escape from Tarkov. I will say they seem to pull this directly from the game, but then again, so did Delta Force. So does this mean that every modern day extraction shooter will have the same gun modification menu? I really don't know, but it seems like the gunsmith in Arena Breakout actually works better than the one in Escape from Tarkov, which is kind of crazy. The ammo is a pretty similar story, same calibers, but the only difference is that your ammo is color-coded. Instead of needing to pull up a ammo chart and memorize every single best and worst bullet, you're able to look at it, the shiny yellow, and go, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Here's a simple chart for everyone to follow. White is level 1 to level 2, which is dog shit. Purple is level 3, and it's not bad. Not great, but it's okay. And yellow, level 4 to 5, is juicer ammo. The better your ammo is, the faster you'll drop the enemy, and ammo plays a really, really big part in this game. I normally run level 4 yellow ammo. I find it does the job just fine. Unless I'm running a bolt action, then I'll run a level 5 just because I want to drop the person instantly if I'm shooting long range. Armor is the same as in every other extraction shooter. You've got 6 different tiers of armor with their own stats. 1 obviously being the worst and 6 being the highest. You've also got things like movement speed, ergonomics, and the parts of your body that it covers. But just like in any other game, like I said, armor will only get you so far unless the enemy is running really, really bad ammo. Personally, for a normal run in Lockdown, I like to use level 4. I find that if they're using purple ammo or yellow ammo, it'll still stop shots and give you an opportunity to react. But anything less than that, and it's basically instant death. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing what you want to run. And while we're still on the subject about kits, I'd like to talk about one of the biggest and best changes they could have possibly made. The quick kit option. Instead of having to struggle through your inventory to build a kit, you can just hit this button and it's easy as that. Very similar to the ticket system inside of Delta Force if you've ever played that game. You get a selection of basic, advanced, and premium. Basic is not very good, but at the same time it's enough to get you a kill. Normally you get a level 3 armor with this coupon, a slightly modded out weapon, and purple ammo. Advanced gives you a level 4 armor with purple ammo, a moderately modded out weapon, and yellow ammo if you take a sniper. And premium gives you a level 4 armor with yellow ammo for every single kit. Also, the weapon you get is very modded out with large mags. And if you're coupon broke like me and have a favorite budget kit you'd like to use every single raid, you can configure your gear and items so the system will just buy it for you. A quick and easy way to get in. This is your hideout, but it's called a trophy room. This is where you're able to upgrade a bunch of shit, allowing you to produce weapons, ammo, items, and armor, and whatever else. It also gives you passive bonuses like endurance, upgrades, market listings, and things like that. It also allows you to display some stuff, which is pretty cool. I'm glad they put it in. I really haven't messed around with it too much. It costs quite a bit to upgrade, and personally I don't really see the benefits right now. If I'm getting slapped around, it's not because I'm running out of endurance. Sure, it'll allow you to sprint to a location faster, but chances are, if you get a bad spawn, you're arriving late regardless. It's up to you if you want to upgrade, but I don't really see much value in it right now, but I'm sure that'll change in the future. Honestly, the battle pass in this game is pretty good, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And if you don't want to pay for it, there's also a free option, which is still decent. The advanced battle pass is basically just a normal battle pass, which is $6.85 Canadian, just below $5 in USD. And the premium gives you a bigger storage container, more storage lines, a fancy profile icon, upgrades the battle pass by 30 levels, and gives you a premium kit coupon, all for the low price of $20.59 Canadian, which is just below $15 in USD. All in all, it's not bad at all compared to something like League of Legends. And the microtransaction store is pretty much run-of-the-mill for a free-to-play game. Isn't anything special, the prices aren't incredibly crazy by any measure, though they do have a Cyberpunk 2077 collab, which is something I haven't seen in a game like this, so that's pretty cool. When I got to this spot in the review, I thought I was going to be grossed out, but it's a free-to-play game that came from mobile. Not coping or trying to give them a leg to stand on, but this is kind of just how free-to-play games operate. They're not charging you an upfront fee, and they even compromised with the community by removing RMT from the game before it became an issue, so I don't really have a problem with it, and good on them for listening to their community. These are some of the gripes that I have with the game, and I kind of just need to air them out somewhere where I can catalog my problems and yell into the void before I go absolutely nuts about it. The opening cinematics are always way too loud, and I kind of hate it. Please turn them down. No one is really playing your game to look at the pretty video you cut together in Adobe Premiere Pro. We're all here just for the extraction portion of the game and, PvP. The menus feel slow and laggy. I'm one of those players who flies through menus as quick as I can so I can jump into the next raid, and I hate having to press a button multiple times for things to work. I don't know why it's like this, but I hope they fix it in the future. The grenades feel a little lackluster, and it's felt like this since beta. There's no oomph behind the throwing of a grenade like you do in every other game. The animation just kind of feels like dog shit, to be honest, so I hope that they improve on that. I wish that they would just add a claim all button for the events section. Having to click through all this stuff is just annoying. Just streamline it like you did everything else. Stop making us waste our time. Add a top-up function for the ammo. Tarkov has it, and it really helped out. Instead of needing to search your inventory for similar stacks of ammo, just give us a top-up function. I hate wasting time in this game. The optimization in this game can be a lot better. A lot of my friends have been having issues with FPS, and we're not exactly sure. A lot of my friends have top-of-the-line PCs that are way better than mine, so we're not entirely sure what's going on, but hopefully it's not a core issue and it gets fixed in the future. Let us repair our face shields so that we don't have to buy an entirely fresh one every single raid. Tarkov does the same thing, and I don't know why they do it. Just let us repair our face shields so that there isn't a bullet hole in it every single time. Also, why am I getting put into a raid alone if I have auto match on. If I wanted to play solo, I would, but I have auto match on, so why am I being placed in a team of 1 or a team of 2? I literally can't state this enough. I hate bringing in a juicer kit and playing Russian roulette with the matching system. It's annoying. Besides that, I don't really have a lot of gripes, and most of these things can be improved on, and more than likely will be. They've already fixed the lockdown zone recently, so my hopes are high for the future. Arena Breakout Infinite is not a game that I saw myself enjoying at all. In fact, when I saw getting a PC port from a phone game, I thought it was going to be another dime a dozen dog shit shooters. But I was pleasantly surprised. It may not hit the same way that Escape from Tarkov does with the atmosphere, but it's not as punishing, and that's a good thing. I don't feel like I need to sweat every single day of every single hour to make money and make sure I'm making progress in the wipe. I can just chill, push fights, and sometimes even extract with a decent amount of loot. And I know that I can drop the game whenever I want to and come back in a couple months, knowing full well that my stash value and my stats will still be there. This game doesn't pressure you into being the best. It's just one of those games that it's an extraction shooter you can play with your friends, and that's kind of what I value the most, I think. Just being able to play an extraction shooter with my friends and not take it too seriously. It's very casual friendly. If you enjoy Escape from Tarkov or Delta Force in any capacity, you should give Arena Breakout Infinite a try. It's a game that I came back to and I might not ever leave. Also, just before I close this video out, I will be doing a video on the experience of Escape from Tarkov 1.0 whenever that launches, and I'm not going to be buying the Steam version because f*** Battlestate for even trying to do that. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, make sure you guys hit me with a like, comment, or simply just subscribe. I promise it won't cost you a single coin, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.